Ahem. When I press test audio, I can hear myself, and that's how you can hear me. But I am... See, now you can hear me, but I'm pressing test audio! Wait, let me turn off the testing and see if you can hear me. I'm being silenced. This is so weird. What the heck? You heard me clear my throat because I was testing! Hold on one second. I don't know how I fixed it on Saturday. Hello? Now I can hear myself. Hello, 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 hello. I can hear myself. This isn't right. It's audio monitoring. I can't do a whole stream like that. I can hear myself. Why can't I hear myself? I mean, I know why I can't. I pressed monitor only mute output. It should be monitor off. Keep pressing buttons. Hello, hello. You can hear me now? You can hear me now? Now? Yes, now? This is so weird. What is going on? I plugged it in, back in and back out, but I did that like a minute ago. Bro, I don't know. I don't know what's happening. This happened on Saturday. I don't know, because like on Saturday, I had to completely unplug my cloud lifter. And it worked. But then I also had I was in my audio settings and I kept just switching the device around, pressing test audio. You guys could hear me clear my throat on the starting soon screen because I pressed test audio. It was like the feedback of what I was saying, but it wasn't like from my actual mic. If that makes sense at all. Anyways, it's fixed now. Yay. I'm sorry. I don't know what's wrong. Like, I'm gonna have to try and figure that out because it's very annoying. And like, I don't want to have that be an issue every single time I go live. It's so annoying. Okay. Well, I thought it was a reference. It was definitely a reference. I was trying to be funny. Bro, I was trying to be funny and it failed again. Just like on Saturday, it failed. Well, I guess it didn't fully fail because you guys did hear the throat clear. But, it was supposed to, I had a whole bit going. It's a shame. Anyways, thank you for bearing with me throughout the technical difficulties. That was weird. I tell you, I'm being silenced. YouTube is trying to silence me. It's crazy. Crazy. She thinks she's like Rev with the throat clearing. Well, I thought it was funny. How are you and how is Rev? We're doing good. We're doing good. I'm good. I don't know, streaming on Saturday was really fun. We went over 3 hours, which was so fun, and I had missed you guys, and I'd wanted to stream this week anyways. And then some stuff happened on Twitter. Just a few thingies happened on Twitter, and I was like, I could talk about this briefly. It's not going to be like the full stream. I also have some videos I want to react to. But I kind of wanted to talk about it on my stream just because I got a lot of responses from my own community as well, people who do follow me. And they were kind of all over the place, I'm not gonna lie. Like, they were kind of all over the place a little bit. And, you know, I'd like to talk about it because I was called a few things for my takes. And I just wanted to talk about it with you guys on stream because I feel like I don't quite understand. I don't get it. And I feel like, and maybe, I'm not gonna say maybe it's just me because it's certainly not just me, but certain things just feel so obvious to me that it's really, really hard for me to understand. It's really hard for me to understand where someone else's headspace is exactly at when something feels so obvious to me. Now, clearly it's not obvious to everyone, apparently. But we're gonna get into it. So yeah, let's do it. This is me. I'm a woke Christian, apparently. Also, I have someone in my chat, even currently, like right before stream started, they were like, well, can you at least tell us how you feel about gay marriage? You've never condemned gay marriage. What? What? I literally did yesterday. You must not know me, and that's okay. I'm here to introduce myself. But I literally replied this yesterday on Twitter, so someone had said, should the church accept gay people and other sinners? And I said, yeah, they should feel welcomed, and They shouldn't affirm the sins, but the church is a hospital for the sick. We all need healing. Does this make me woke? I'm just curious. Is it woke to think that people should feel welcome at church? I don't know. You tell me, chat. You tell me. As long as we're not affirming the sins, I don't see how people shouldn't feel welcome at church. Personally, I think people should want to feel welcome when they come to church, so that they want to come to church, so they can hear the word of God. Just me, though. Just me. And, also, like I said, it's a hospital for the sick, you know? And we all need healing. I.e., I'm sick too. Because, as you'll see, we'll get into it in a second, but some people were like, I guess some people had an assumption that I think I'm better than everyone else, that I don't sin. One person said something, because like my bio on Twitter, if you've seen it, it's like a cutesy bio. And it says, daughter of the king makes me a princess, because I'm a princess VTuber, it's like my thing. They were like, oh, you think you're a princess, huh? You don't think you're a sinner, a lowly sinner like everyone else? No. No, I'm a sinner. I am a sinner, for sure. I need help just as much as the next person. For sure. You know, I think the difference is, I don't think it's, like, fun to go around and be like, yeah, sin. Good times, you know? It's like, yes, I sin. I'm not proud of it, though. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not proud of that. I don't think it's a good thing. It's ridiculous. Where do they get this? Strawb on stream. Wow, I wish I could go to confession. X. Wow, Strawb thinks she doesn't sin. No, literally on my stream the other day, I was talking about how I want to go to confession and I literally can't because I'm not Catholic. And literally just yesterday, and I'm not going to get into the specifics, but I literally sinned yesterday, something that I was really upset about after, and I was like, man, I wish I could go to confession, because I feel like I really need it, because it was, like, probably considered, like, a grave, like, moral sin or whatever, like, mortal sin. I was like, but I can't even go. So I'm like, no, I'm not Catholic. I grew up like Baptist and non-denominational. I'm going to a Catholic church, but it takes a while to get confirmed. You don't just like go to a Catholic church and they're just like, all right, you're in. It's a little more complicated than that with the Catholics. But no, I know God sees my heart. I try not to think too much about that, because I know I literally can't go to confession right now. I mean, I'm sure I could speak to my priest, but that's besides the point, you know. You're seeking confirmation? I mean, as of right now, my plan is to continue with like OCIA, and yeah, eventually be confirmed is the plan. Hopefully. You know, obviously I can't see the future, but in the early church it could take several years to be able to join. That's what I've heard. I've heard that it took like a long time to like officially join, which is just so interesting. I think it's such like a foreign concept to me, coming from the background that I have, where like being like Baptist, non-denominational, you know, evangelical, that's the background that like I grew up in and I'm more familiar with. And so like this concept is like just very different, you know. It's taken, well, I can't even say it's taken a lot of getting used to, because I'm still not like really used to it, but like doing my best, you know what I mean? What made you open up to Catholicism? Oh my gosh, that's a whole other stream that we could talk about. I did a stream like months and months and months ago, you can see on my channel, about Catholicism. like, I read Trent Horn's book and kind of talked about it on stream. I feel like making friends that are Catholic, researching more into church history, earlier church fathers specifically, and really just wanting to know more about the history of the church overall, I think kind of led me in this direction, as well as wanting more answers to certain questions that I had that I felt like personally, I felt like I wasn't getting super clear answers on certain things in the churches that I was at. And also just like the fact that, I don't know, I really appreciate that the Catholic Church has very firm stances on certain things. Whereas I feel like in the churches that I was in, a lot of things felt more up to interpretation, I guess is the word. Like there are certain sins where it was like, oh, it's a personal conviction, but then there are certain sins where I was just like, I don't understand why it's a personal conviction. You know what I mean? Like there were certain things where I was like, I feel like this, I don't understand how it's a personal conviction, why it wouldn't just be a sin, you know? Like speaking about like just one example, like birth control. It's like in, I don't know about, like, I don't know if I should say like Protestants altogether, because I don't really know how some of the like I don't know like how Lutherans, for example, feel about it. But I know like for a lot of like Baptist, non-denominational, it's like, it's up to you. Like if I had a question and I went to my pastor, he would just say like pray about it. And I think that's great to like pray about things, obviously. But at the same time, like I come to you like a leader, for example, for advice and like guidance, and so sometimes it's really hard to like hear just like pray about it all the time when you have like a genuine question, like you have prayed about it and you still feel really conflicted. And honestly, I felt like it was sinful myself, like in my heart. I was like, no, this does actually feel wrong. But I don't know, does that make sense? I feel like there are, and it goes for obviously multiple different things, but I do really admire that the Catholic Church has very firm positions on things like that. And just in general, the structure, I do like the structure in that, but history, I think the history of it being an apostolic church, yeah. Those, I hope that answers your questions. Sorry, that probably wasn't the most like it wasn't the most like easy thing to answer. But I hope, even if you're not Catholic, I hope that answers your questions. And I still love all the people. I mean, like I said, I'm not technically Catholic, even though I go to mass, but I'm not Catholic yet. But I love, you know, all the Christians in my chat. I love all of you guys. Even if you're not Catholic, I still love you guys. And I don't know. I think that God can use us all. I really do feel that way. So, anyways, enough of that. So yeah, this was my stance on that. So I don't know anyone who is confused about my stance on the LGBT. I feel like I've been pretty honest about it, and open about it. I don't hate gay people though. I don't hate trans people. I think it's a sin. I think it's wrong. But I don't hate anyone. And I feel like that's not enough for some people, and I'm not sorry about it. But yeah, that's how I feel. This is what I didn't like. And apparently this is supposed to be fine. Now, we can talk about it together, and you can tell me what you think. But I saw this on Twitter, And I did not like it. Andrew Wilson, if you guys are not familiar with him, he is an Orthodox Christian commentator, debater. He's very, very popular, obviously. And he says some things that I personally don't think are the best. Oh my gosh,
Hello.
Rev is home. Hello.
Hello.
I'm just getting into my stream.
Okay, well, I'll let you get to it.
No, you're good. Everyone wanted to say hi to you though.
Okay.
They were
Hello,
saying,
everyone.
"Hey, how are you and Rev?" Yeah, Rev is here. Who's that? This is my husband. 'Cause I believe in traditional marriage. I'm married to a man.
Well, hello, everyone. Have a good stream.
Okay, thanks, baby. He has to go get to work. He's streaming tonight, right?
Possibly.
Oh, possibly.
Trying to figure that out.
Well, he has a lot of stuff he has to get done.
Yeah. You'll know.
You'll know when you know. If he does stream, I'll post in the Discord and announce it and everything. He sounds different. People always say he sounds different on my mic too. I think my mic is a little different. I mean, my mic is different, but also like, I don't know. I feel like he's so much more like soft-spoken when he's in here versus like his own streams and videos. He sounds tired. He's been doing like he went out and did a bunch of errands and stuff he had to take care of. So he just got home from doing that stuff. Yeah, he's not like projecting his voice. That's how he normally sounds. He's very soft-spoken in real life, and he's not very loud, and he's very chill. Anyways, that's my man. I love him. Okay, we're getting off topic. Anyways, Andrew Wilson. If you're not familiar with him, this is him. His tweets can get a little crazy, in my opinion. But anyways, he said this about the new Supergirl, which I'm, not sure if you guys are familiar with I'm pretty sure most of you guys probably are familiar with the Supergirl discourse. I still haven't seen the movie. I'm not giving my opinions on it because I haven't seen it yet. I will say I don't appreciate people being so disgusting about how she looks. I think it's low-hanging fruit, to say the least. I think it's not very kind or loving. I don't like it. That's how I feel. You can feel however you want about the movie and about her comments about things. I really don't care. But it's besides the point. Clearly he was making fun of her appearance, right? Calling her a Down syndrome Supergirl. Okay. And then he says, I know it's a sin and all, but teenagers going to hell for doing that should at least get good-looking women to get sent to hell over. Now this guy is supposed to be some, like, arbiter of Christian truth. You can say it's a joke. I don't care. I don't find it funny. He like, publicly... And keep in mind, like, when I say in my tweet he's a self-proclaimed Christian man, that's not me trying to make like a dig at him as if like he's not actually a Christian, because I've talked about that before. Like, I'm not the type personally to tell someone like, I think you worship Satan and you don't believe in God and you're of the devil. I don't speak that way to people because I don't feel like that's something I should say to people. And that's not how I feel about Andrew. I've seen some of his takes. I agree with some of his takes. However, I don't always agree with the way he says certain things. I think he can be really crude. I think he can be really just gross. And I just think it's inappropriate. I don't think it's appropriate. I think it's weird how he, like, talks about sin. Like, I know it's a sin and all. Talking about teenagers should, like, get better women to get sent to hell. I don't know. The whole thing, it's just weird to me, and I just don't understand how he's supposed to be this, like, you know, I'm an Orthodox Christian man, and I feel like this doesn't reflect well. That's how I feel. And you can say that I'm implying it in my tweet. I say I'm a self-proclaimed Christian. I don't say that to, like, dig at his religion. I mean, if you take it that way, you take it that way. That's not what I meant. But that's fine. But anyways, I just feel like this is not good. And it comes across as him laughing at teens being sent to hell to me. I just think it's like, if you want to call it a joke, that's fine. I think it's a weird, gross joke. I don't understand why it's in his head. I don't understand why he thinks it's, I don't get how he thinks it's funny. And I just don't feel like it's Christ-like at all. I don't get it. And so yeah, I have an issue with it. And I also have an issue with the fact that people have an issue with me having an issue with it. Because it feels like, well, we'll get to it. But this is what I said. I just said this is one of the many reasons why I can't take him seriously as a Christian speaker. Because like I said, I have heard some of his takes before. There are certain things that he's said that I'm like, I could get behind that. I understand where you're coming from. I even agree with that. But then he has to go and, like, say something in the most, like, aggressive, repugnant, and I know someone's gonna say, and people already have, that I'm tone policing. I don't really care if that's how you feel about when I talk like this. Like, if you think that my criticisms are all just tone policing, I feel like some people, not everyone, but I feel like some people use that and use other words, these little buzzwords, to try and, like, not allow criticism to themselves. Like, and you know, if you really feel that way, you're entitled to feel that way. I think you're wrong, and we can just agree to disagree. But it does feel like it's used to deflect from criticism. So that's how I feel about that. And you know, I had some people saying, like, you know, the joke is dirty, but he does a lot for combating anti-Christians, then being polite, you know. But I'm like, you know, you can acknowledge that he does positive things while also calling out behavior like this. Like, I don't think it has to be black and white. I don't think you have to say, I hate Andrew Wilson and I hate everything he says and I disagree with him. I think you can admit when someone does something that is not Christ-like. And I don't understand either why it's so wrong for me to say something like this about Andrew Wilson whenever he's acting not Christ-like, but yet people are fine with it whenever I call out things from the left that are ungodly. Then it's fine. It's okay, you know, when I'm calling out those people, but when I call out someone from the right, all of a sudden it's an issue. People keep saying this, like, infighting. Don't infight, don't infight. We are literally called to sharpen one another in the Bible. Like, that is quite literally what the Bible says to do. It's not, like, needless infighting. I'm being honest about something that's a problem. Men too, not women? Okay, well then where are the men stepping up to call him out? If I would rather not be the one. I'd rather someone else in our circle do it. Honestly. Man or woman. Whatever. I never see it. I never see hardly anyone criticize him. Like, ever. It feels like people on the right feel like he's untouchable. Like, you're not allowed to criticize him because he's on the right. I don't get that. But people tell me I can't criticize him because I'm a woman, but you guys have no problem when I call out abortion, when I call out LGBT stuff. Like, then it's okay that I'm a woman and I'm saying things. Yeah, Trent Horn has. We're actually going to watch one of his videos about something separate, but he apparently does mention Andrew. They have some, like, they have some beef, I think. I'm not super familiar with their issues with each other, but, I mean, Trent Horn is obviously Catholic. Andrew obviously has some issues with Catholics, which, like, you know, I get. People are in different sects of Christianity and have disagreements with other people. But I'm sorry, I've never gotten a far right or left vibe from Strawb. He's one of the most centrist Christians I've ever heard of. I take this as a compliment, to be quite honest, although I am rather conservative in a lot of my beliefs. Like, you know, like I am, like I mentioned, where is it? Yeah, because someone said I was a covert liberal feminist, which, like, I always joke about this, right? Because it's like, I'm not chud enough for the chuds, but I'm not, like, liberal for the liberals. Like, where do I fit in, you know? But I'm like, I'm pro-life. I'm pro-natalist. I talk about this all the time. I'm pro-traditional marriage. Like, I talk about that all the time. Like, where is the feminism? Like, unless someone's pulling up the concept of the fact that, like I said, I don't want to lose my voting rights, which apparently is, like, a crazy thing for a woman to say in 2026. And you can disagree. And I've even said that if I knew for a fact that, like, giving them up would fix the world, I would, but I just don't feel like it would. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for wanting to be able to vote. If that's what makes me a liberal, is wanting to be able to keep my right to vote, then, dang. That's a really low bar, you guys, if that's all that it takes to make you a liberal. But anyways, I don't know. That's that. But, you know, some other people also did call him out on this, Max being one of them. Which I still can't get over. Apparently Max is Amala's brother, which I did not know until on Saturday. And now I'm, like, shook about it, honestly. But anyways, Max, you know, pointed it out. And all Andrew can reply with is just LMAO, or LMFAO. Like, he thinks it's just funny. I get it. He doesn't care. I mean, it's very clear that he doesn't care. He's laughing about it. This is not affecting him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's going about his day. He's not... He doesn't care. You know? He is... Trust me, like, he is so big. Like, Andrew is so big. Like, I'm not naive. You know, I know who he is. He's on all these podcasts. He talks to all these, like, famous people. I mean, he's, like, very famous himself. Like, he doesn't care that some random VTuber on Twitter is, like, you know, criticizing him. You know what I mean? He's just like, LMFAO. LMFAO. He's not going to give me, like, a genuine response. He did actually reply to me the first time, but he deleted it. Because apparently he thought that I had said something else. Yeah, this is what he said to me the first time. Because he replied to the tweet, but I think he thought I was replying to his latest tweet. And then he deleted this and he was like, oh, my bad, I thought you were replying to my latest tweet, which was way worse than this one. And I'm like, you know, he literally knows. Like, he knows what he's doing. Because I don't think he's stupid. You know what I mean? I really don't think he's dumb. But yeah. My point still stands, though. Like, I think it's disgusting. I don't think it's Christ-like. I don't. You can say I'm infighting. You can say all the things you want to say. You can call me a covert liberal feminist. And then people were upset well, this was funny. But, you know, I said, like, he just thinks it's funny when people call him out for saying these things. And I just don't understand how he's so arrogant, and he's so crass. Like, he gets so much admiration from people, from a lot of you guys. And I'm not saying this to be mean. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I think he's just so gross. Like, he's like, you know, when I think of someone who's like a, you know, a godly person, I don't know. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just being honest. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Like, you never heard of him, Bob? I'm kind of shocked, honestly. He's very, like, well known. But, you know, I'm not gonna dig in the mud too much with Andrew Wilson, that's fine. But someone said this to my response, because I had said it's very easy to look at others and judge them for their sins, so much that we often don't realize just how much we sin in similar ways. More introspection is always good. I find myself being judgmental, and then I realize, wait, I have my own issues to concern myself with. It's like, I believe that's true. For sure. But I was like, you forgot the second part. That was not all of that tweet. There was more. I said not to say we can't call sin and rebuke it, because we can and should. Sin is bad. I feel like this should be common sense. Like, and we should think about how we're delivering the messages when we do and where our hearts are at. Like, I think we should be saying things in love. Obviously, nobody's perfect at that. I'm not perfect at that. Like, yes, I've lashed out at people before, but I don't think it's a good thing. I don't sit here and say, yeah, I told that person to go F themselves and I don't care. Like, no, like, you should feel bad when you do bad things. I feel like this should be, like, understood. But, anyways, people were bringing up that old tweet that I had made, which I'm not getting into that whole conversation again. That was so stressful about the whole, like, ex-OnlyFans girls, and everyone was, I mean, I'm sure you guys remember that from, like, months ago. Yeah, I'm not getting into all that again. But yeah, apparently I'm a covert liberal feminist, somehow. But, and then, you know, and yet you're out here correcting men like a pious effing loudmouth. LMFAO, good luck to you. Okay. Okay. But again, nobody would mind if I was correcting, I mean, some people would mind, people on the left. But, like, these people that are more on the right, like, you wouldn't mind if I was correcting a bunch of, like, liberals on, like, left-leaning things that are like abortion or LGBT stuff. Then it's fine if I open my mouth. Well, for most of these people. I'm sure some of them would still say to keep my mouth shut. But that's besides the point. It's like, why are certain people untouchable? Why am I not allowed to criticize certain people, but other people it's fine? And I don't understand the whole, yeah, it's tribalism. They say, like, don't, infighting is bad, infighting is bad. And I did see Leaflet's video, someone shared it. I disagree with Leaflet. Don't hate Leaflet, I think she's sweet. I've only ever had good interactions with Leaflet. But I don't agree with her on her takes in the video, and maybe we'll watch a couple minutes of it. I don't know. I don't want it to be a whole thing. But, like, I don't agree that the infighting is not allowed when it comes to, like, criticizing things like this. Like, I should be allowed to criticize this. And to be fair, she did say you can criticize it. She just thinks it's, like, bad, too. And, like, infighting is bad. But, like, a lot of people in the chat are also saying, like, don't infight, don't infight. I'm sorry, but, like, so we should just let anyone who's, like, on your side of the aisle, so to speak, can just say and do whatever they want and they're never allowed to be criticized for it? I just don't understand. But it's not wasted energy. I mean, it shouldn't be. Because a dirty joke isn't as bad as killing a billion babies. I mean, no one said it's... But see, that's the thing though, is like you're moving the conversation. I never said it was as bad as killing a billion We're not comparing those things like that. Like, it still doesn't make it right. And I stand by what I said. I said it to Andrew in my reply to the one that he deleted. Like, show this to your priest. I'm just curious what your priest would say. Would your priest think it's funny? Would your priest think it's cool? Like, genuinely. I just don't think it's right. And my mind's really not going to be changed about that. But yeah, like I said though, I wish other people would speak up. Seeing people calling me a sewing circle Christian, that I'm holier than thou, that I am a liberal, that I am this, that I'm that. But it's like, why should I feel guilty to speak the truth in love? Why should I feel bad about it? And I never questioned his faith. People are like, you're questioning his faith by calling him a self-proclaimed man of God. No. He is a self-proclaimed Christian. I'm a self-proclaimed Christian. If you proclaim that you're a Christian, you are a self-proclaimed Christian. I'm not here to tell you whether you are one or not. I don't know your heart. I can't judge if you have true faith in God. And some people have faith in God and their walk is very different than other people's walks. I mean, I'm just being honest there, you know, like, I understand some people will question people's faith. Some people have questioned mine from this. But it's just like for me, I'm not comfortable doing that. I'm just not comfortable. You said you can't take him seriously as a Christian speaker that's very adjacent to believing he isn't a Christian. No. I don't think everyone should be a Christian speaker. I don't think everyone should be. I don't think everyone should be out here speaking for the church and if you're going to act this way. Is he? I mean, it seems like he is to me. He's out here debating people and he brings up God all the time and he talks about how he's Orthodox. That sounds like a Christian speaker to me. He speaks about God. Just saying, whenever you talk about things publicly, like, I feel like you should be held to a higher standard. He is representing the Eastern Orthodox Church. He talks about Orthodoxy all the time. It's just the truth. Like, do you think he doesn't talk about Eastern Orthodoxy? Yeah, his username is Paleo Christian God. Like, that's his whole thing, is about being an Orthodox guy, and that's like that's how he views the world, through that lens. Like, that's, you know, just saying, it's just the truth. But, yeah, like I said, I find it interesting. Nobody seems to mind out when I call out blatantly ungodly behavior from the left, but the moment I touch Andrew Wilson, someone that the right really, really seems to love, now I'm the bad guy. Now I'm infighting. Now I'm a loud, pious woman. I'm holier than thou. I'm a sewing circle Christian. I'm tone policing. And I just don't agree with that. And I don't want to feel like I'm being censored. That I'm not allowed to speak about certain people just because they're popular on the right. Because I don't align myself with, like, super, super left or super, super right. I don't like the whole tribalism stuff. I don't. I want to do what God wants me to do. And again, am I perfect at it? No. I'm not. I'm definitely not. But I don't think it's like, I just don't think it's appropriate to come on here and to say things like that. So yeah. What else? That was pretty much that for that part of the conversation. That's really all I had to say for that. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's just not good. It's not good. Now let's see. And someone did share with me Leaflet's video. And we can watch it for a second, because I do think it's relevant. And again, no shade to Leaflet. I like Leaflet. But I just don't agree with her on this. Where is it at? We're gonna watch a few different things, if it'll show me. Hello? Why won't it let me? Oh wait, there it is, there it is. Oh, Trent. I wanted to watch this too. It's about the Obsession movie. But also, I don't think you have to agree with someone on everything and still, like, you know, interact with them and like them. Like, that shouldn't be a requirement. You know what I mean? I don't have to agree with every single thing she ever says to like it. To like her. Okay, let's see. Because this is a video someone linked me, and they basically were like, this is you. So, we'll just watch the first couple minutes.
Alright, I'll just say it. So, you know what's really...
Hold on, let me move myself so we can see her. And the title of it is, I'm Tired of Woke Christians.
really annoying is all of the Christian infighting on fucking websites all the time. It's just irritating to me. It's like, I see it on like X and it's just like, oh, like you're not like holy enough. Oh, you're not holy enough. Just fucking fighting each other. It's so fucked.
And to be fair, there is that happens that is stupid. And there wasn't, I don't think there was like specific examples that she gave in this video. So it's like, it's kind of hard to tell exactly who she's talking about. I will say the thumbnail did have Andrew Wilson in it, and I know that Leaflet is an Andrew Wilson fan. And I actually had never even heard the term Sewing Circle Christian before until I was watching Leaflet one time. And that was the first time I kind of heard it, and I was like, I don't know that I like the way this is being used. But I don't know. And now that I've been called it so many times, I definitely don't like it, because I'm like, I don't feel like that is applicable for me, but I digress.
Fucking annoying. It's so fucking annoying, and you guys make yourself look like fucking clowns, is what I'll say. Like, absolute fucking circus shit.
And, like, I don't know if she would consider, and Leaflet does call herself a Christian. She says she's a Christian. And again, I'm not saying she's not one. I'm not saying Andrew's not one. I'm not here telling people like their religion. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, yeah, she says she's a Christian. I say I'm a Christian, you know. But yes, because someone in chat asked.
And it's annoying as hell.
But yeah, like, would Leaflet think this about the interaction I had with Andrew? I don't know. I'd be curious to know.
The heretics now it's just like, you're mean, but yeah, but you're mean. Yeah, but you're stupid. Like, bro, like, what are you doing? Like, what? Oh my God, it's so irritating. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, this is a recent thing. Like, I'm just being real. Like, I feel like this is really recent. Like, this isn't like I mean, that's not to say it didn't happen before, but I think it's recent that it started to happen a lot more. Like, a lot more. And it almost feels like it's because...
Maybe it is happening a lot more. Maybe I wasn't like in the circle. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't in like the like Christian political whatever circle until more recently, so I just didn't know about it. So maybe I see it more. I definitely do see it more now, but also maybe I just wasn't around before. I don't know.
It's because the pendulum started swinging the other way. So people started getting more bold. Dude, you know what it is? To be honest, no, it is a recent thing. What I mean by recent, I mean like it wasn't as bad. It's like way more bad now than it was before.
I will say I feel like things are more divisive than ever. Someone said Leaflet is Japanese, not Jewish. You thought she was Jewish? I think you're getting her mixed up with someone else. I don't think she's Jewish.
Right, so but the problem, right? You know what it looks like? It looks fucking woke. That's what it looks like. It looks woke. It looks the same thing. You know how like the woke people, they'll be like, oh, but like, did you even go to like a pride parade? Or like, oh, like, well, you know, you don't like xenogenders, right? It's like that. It's the same thing, but like Christian version of it. And it's actually like really fucking annoying. Vera Volt attacks Celestium. Dude, it's like all over the fucking place, dude. It's all over the place. And it's like, and the thing is like, you know, whatever. I don't care, like personally, right? Like personally, I don't give a fuck. Like if they want to criticize me for like liking hentai or whatever, like
That was the part where I was just like, yeah. And hey, I'm not trying to be mean, but like, yeah, as a Christian, you shouldn't watch hentai. I'm sorry. I don't know. But I mean, she says she doesn't care if someone criticizes her for it. I'm just being honest. I would assume she knows that. So, you know, that's just, yeah, a difference, I guess.
I don't care. I really don't care. Like, go ahead, do it. I don't care. Do it. Like you're nagging and you're getting mad at me. It means nothing to me. I literally
see, but that's where I have more of an issue with it, though. It's like she doesn't care. She's like, oh, she's like, you're nagging because someone would say that that's sinful. But I don't know. I think it's just honesty. And if you are a Christian, you should not want to sin. It doesn't mean that we're not going to stumble, that we're not going to make mistakes, that we're not going to struggle really hard with things. But I think we should care. You know what I mean? Like, I think we should care. And I don't think we should just, like, dismiss valid criticisms from other Christians, like, when they are actually valid. You know what I mean?
really don't give a fuck.
Leaflet literally identifies as a Christian, but not a good one. Is that what she said, like, herself? I'm not saying that about her. That's what someone in chat said. Just want to put that out there. This is not me coming after Leaflet. Okay, like, again, I think Leaflet is very sweet. She's always been very nice to me. She's always been very sweet to me. I want to make that very clear. And again, like, I think it's okay to disagree with people. I don't think that you have to, like, hate someone because you disagree with someone. Oh, Leaflet does call herself that. Well, I mean, at least she's honest. Clipper's on standby to clip out of context. Please don't clip me out of context. Is hentai banned in Christianity? Yeah, you should not. Hentai is definitely sinful. That's, yeah.
Right,
Yep.
but the problem is, like, it CCs other people that aren't me. Does that make sense? Because, like, I'll have, like, a friend, like, be like, oh, this person's been going after me, and then it'll like, fully absorb, like, their brain, right? And it's like, I'm like, bro, like, you guys know that you're CCing each other, right? Like, constantly. And it's just so annoying. Like, I can't be the only one that thinks, like, this is woke as fuck and annoying. Actually, thank you.
See, I guess, and that's just, like, at the end of the day, that's the part that I'm like, I don't really know exactly what she's talking about, because, again, there were no, like, specific examples mentioned, but, like, just saying it's woke and annoying. I mean, I don't know, people probably think I'm woke and annoying. maybe, Leaflet would think that my posts were woke and annoying about Andrew, because I know she likes Andrew. But it is what it is. Like, you can think that if you want. I disagree. I think that it's valid and needed, and I think that it's, in my opinion, it's just, like, a bit hypocritical to be okay with us, like, calling out other things, but then for some reason you can't call out other things. Do you know what I mean? Like, certain things seem to be on the table for certain people, and then other things seem to not be on the table. And I guess that's kind of what I have an issue with.
Thank you so much for the sub, by the way, over on
And that's not just going for Leaflet, by the way. That's for, like, a lot of people. It just feels like people have their sins that they're okay with people criticizing publicly, and there are sins that people are like not okay with, and that's like a lot of people on the internet.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Sargent, as well for the sub. Thank you. It started after they got Charlie Kirk. It seems like more recent. Like it almost seems like the pendulum started swinging the other way, and then people started using it as an opportunity to like to what do you call it? Position. You know what I mean? Like position, social positioning, right? Okay, you know how like people play this stupid game? This is really annoying, by the way, and I'm sure everyone intuitively knows what I'm talking about here. Where people play this fucking game where they play this like little like subterfuge, like cloak and dagger, like social positioning to like see who has the higher social positioning, and then they use that and they use like Christianity for that reason to like achieve a higher social position over other.
Well, I don't think that's good. Like, I don't think anyone should be using Christianity to like position themselves higher, or like to think that they are better than someone else. I think that is wrong.
Other people. It's woke. It's the same thing as woke. That's why I said it's the same thing. It's like the victim hierarchy. It's literally like, oh, well, you know, I'm disabled. Oh yeah, well, you know, I'm gay. And it's like, oh well, you know what? Like, you know, I was abused.
Well, it goes after that.
Like, oh yeah, well, you know, I'm trans. And like they just like play like this buffing game where they try to buff up as high as possible so that they can be more powerful than other people. And it feels like the same thing, but like with Christians, where they're like, oh, but like.
And I'm sure that does exist. You know, like I've seen it myself. Like yeah, for sure. But I just don't think it's always the case. So. And again, I'm only playing this because someone linked it to me and literally said, "This is you," like Leaflet is right, or something like that. I don't know their exact words, but they were basically saying like Leaflet is so right or whatever, and like, cause apparently I'm a woke Christian now.
But instead of buffs, it's debuffs. You see what I mean? Instead of buffs, it's debuffs. They debuff the other person instead, right? And it's like they do this constantly, and then they put people down, and then they attack them. And here's the thing that's annoying about it, right?
So people are saying, but doesn't Andrew do that? I think that's part of the irony. And
it's like, sure, like, you know, you could say that they could be doing better, maybe, right? And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, right? Like if there's a person and you're like, you could be doing better, right? Everyone can be.
I mean, we could all be doing better. You know, nobody is perfect. I don't know if Wilson was referencing this. Wilson was in her thumbnail for this video. She put Andrew Wilson.
Doing better. That's the fucking point, right? But to like specifically spend an disproportionate amount of your energy on your like attacking your own side is fucking ridiculous.
See, that's part of the problem, I think, is like we have this whole mentality of like sides. We can't attack our side because we're spending too much time attacking our side. We have to attack the other side, and I disagree with that. I think that is dangerous. I don't think that is Christ-like, in my opinion. I think that you should be able to criticize all sides, and I think that if someone is doing something that you don't think is Christ-like, you should be able to say that. It doesn't matter if they're more on the right, more on the left. And I think that's part of my issue with the culture war, because like I said, I think the culture war has a lot of things that are important and do matter, and I do care about certain things within it, but at the same time, I think there are a lot of things sometimes, in my opinion, it feels like certain things miss the point or miss the mark, because when the focus isn't on Jesus and the Bible specifically and the church specifically, I think a lot of things can miss the mark, in my opinion. And that's part of why I don't like the tribalism. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that. A lot of people are going to say, but this is important, you know, it's needed, it's necessary, even if it feels wrong, it's what we need. But I just disagree. I don't think that if the ends if the ends justify the means, I feel like the means do matter. So I think she's looking at it from a secular we need to win viewpoint. That's what I'm saying. And that's part of the issue that I have with it, is that the means matter. it's not just about getting to the end and winning, quote unquote. And I think also, like, a lot of us, all of us really, tend to forget that, like, ultimately God is in control. We're not going to cheat the system somehow. Like, he is in control. He has planned it all out. And what he wants to happen will happen. And I do think that we should focus more on, and myself included, focus more on trying to bring people to Christ instead of worrying about winning the culture war. But I know that's also easier said than done, because at the same time, it's like people see what's going on in the world and they're scared and they want to fix it themselves. And I don't think necessarily means, though, that we can't do anything to help. But I don't always, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know all the answers. I don't know all the answers. And I do see both sides in a way. Like, I get it. But at the same time, I just don't think that all the means are justified as long as you win. Does that make sense?
Ridiculous. Do you see what I mean? It's ridiculous. It's like you gotta understand that the other side, dude. I literally had. You guys want to know one?
And see, that's part of it too. It's like it's always like the other side. Like, and I get what she's saying. I do, but it's just like it's just the tribalism, and it's I'm gonna be honest. Like, in this side of the VTubing sphere, like where I am, where a lot of you guys are, that's like all I feel like there is sometimes. Like, especially like it's so prominent in the Christian VTubing sphere, this tribalism and the left versus right. And sometimes it feels like we take our eyes off of Christ to put our eyes onto other things that are not him. And I don't like it. And I don't want to feel pushed to be that way also, you know? Like, and I like a lot of these people. Like, I like all these people. Like, it's not like a personal judgment, but I do feel like it's very common on this side of the internet. And I mean, I talked to my own husband about it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't always agree with everything he says and does. And I agree with him on a lot of things, but like, I don't know. I hate that aspect of the culture war. I feel like it's very divisive, and while on one hand I understand why it is, and again, I don't think it's like all for nothing, but I don't know, sometimes I just think we miss the mark. And it makes me sad, because I know everyone will be like, Strawb, you're so naive. Like, I do genuinely wish, like, everything could just be good. And, like, we could just live in, like, a happy world. But, you know, hopefully one day, Lord willing, I make it to heaven. And things will be better there. And we can just keep hoping for that, right? Let me look at some of the... I know I've been, like, ignoring, not on purpose, just there's been a lot going on, the supers and stuff. But I do want to touch on these. Tinley, thank you for the 2. Can't stay, but pray your health to be better. Thank you. Hold on, let me move myself again. So I'm not... I'll be right here. Luke with the 20. It's astounding how you are a woke, liberal, right-wing, chud, fake Christian, Jesus freak, VTuber, feminist, trad wife, and Rev's voice changer. You wear so many hats. But in seriousness, I appreciate your takes and humility. Thank you. You know, it is funny. It's just always funny to me that, like, I get all these different labels put on me from people. And it's just, I don't know, it's just funny to me because it's just, like, not... It just doesn't make sense because, like, how can you be liberal and a chud? But, you know. Thank you for the 10. I'm alive. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Soul Swirl just came in. What did I miss? I'm assuming you're caught up now. This was a little bit ago. But thank you for the 2. And Maylard with the 5. Like Pharisees of old, there's a trap of virtue signaling that Christians of all kinds can fall into. You don't change hearts that way. Yeah. I mean, ideally, I would like to change hearts. You know, and again, nobody's perfect, but why is this not... It's not letting me see the chat. I can't do, subs, like members for some reason on here. It's like the members won't pop up. I don't even know what half these words mean, guys, and neither does anyone else. They don't know what these words mean. They're just saying stuff. It's like when people call you a grifter. What does it even mean? People call me a grifter too, but it's like, if anything, I'm a terrible... I've always said that. I'm like, I'm a bad grifter. The only streamer to ever ignore super chats. I don't usually... I feel like I've just... This has been a very, like... I don't know. I want to take this, like, conversation seriously. I don't want to get too distracted. But I do appreciate all the supers. I'm not trying to ignore them. And I've been reading chat as well. But yeah, it's like, if I'm a grifter, I'm a bad grifter because I don't, like... I don't really go along with the whole, like, tribalism narrative of, like, to be all on one side, all in, and you know what I mean? Like, the super... Because if I wanted to grift, like, if I didn't care, if I really didn't believe in God, and it was all just a big grift and a big lie, I could just go super hardcore, like, right-wing. Like, I could just, like, dive into the right-wing pipeline of everything, like, go super, super hard right. I could, like, scream slurs on the internet. I'd get tons of views. Like, I know what I could do. I don't want to do that. But, like, if I wanted to be a grifter, like, I know what I could do to do that. It wouldn't be that hard. You know?
One.
Just saying.
I literally had a person, like a Christian person, reach out to Nyara to try to team up on me. And what? I was like, what the fuck? Like, are you outside of your...
Okay, that's kind of wild. I'm not gonna lie. They teamed up with Nyara. That's kind of crazy. No, I don't... Someone said I should. No, I don't want to say slurs, actually. It's something I just genuinely don't feel a desire in my heart to do, so I don't do it. Never have. I know that's crazy. And I know people have seen fake tweets. No. Never have wanted to do that. Just don't feel like I want to, so I don't.
Your mind right now? Like, what? You're
That's
appealing
crazy.
to Nyara? I was like, what? And it's like, again, like, this doesn't bother me, right? Like, I don't give a fuck, right? These people are retarded. I laugh about it. I literally laugh about it. Like, I work on my thing and I laugh about it. I do my own thing. I don't really care. I'm not really a part of this ecosystem, right? But seeing, like, my friends getting CC'd by this is really irritating to me. Because I'll have a friend who's, like, getting attacked by people for, like, literally nothing. Or, like, barely anything. And then it's like they're spending all this time being emotionally invested in, like, being attacked by, you know, in how bad it feels. Because it feels bad. I mean, let's be honest. It feels really bad when you have people attacking you. I mean, I know how it feels. Everybody knows how it feels, right?
Nobody.
So
I mean, yeah. Like, nobody enjoys that. You can sit here and say you don't really care. But, like, whenever you're seriously getting hounded, I don't think it's ever fun, you know?
it's not really... I mean, you know, you could say toughen up. That is the one thing that you can do. Yeah, but it just seems like such a waste of time. Like, such a waste of time. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like these people are like, well, we want to win the culture war. And it's like, meanwhile, they're spending almost all of their energy attacking, like, their own side. So
See, and that's the thing, though, is, like, that winning the culture war is not my #1 goal. And I feel like if that is if your #1 goal is to win the culture war, like, if that's #1 in your life, I feel like that's an issue. Because I think that there's something greater than that. And I think that's where things get kind of misconstrued. Yeah, the kingdom of heaven is #1. God is #1. Culture war... It's like when people say, I saw someone, their bio was like, God first, America second, because, you know, everyone's like, America first. And it's like, yeah, like, don't get me wrong, I love my country. I'm very, like, patriotic. I love America. I'm so excited for July 4th. I'm about to go eat a hot dog. I'm gonna make some potato salad. I'm gonna go outside and chill with some friends and family. Like, celebrate our nation. I'm so grateful to live here. I'm beyond blessed to live in a country like the US and in a place where I feel safe. But that being said, you know, and I'm not saying anyone who says America first doesn't, you know, believe in God or something like that, or doesn't put God first. I get that it's like a phrase, but I'm just saying, you know, if it truly is number one, if the culture war truly is number one in your life, I think that's a problem. If you're a Christian, I think it's an issue, which is also why, because there are people, you know, who participate in the culture war and stuff, and I've spoken to some of them, other content creators too, who, like, you know, they're not Christians per se, but they say, like, you know, I appreciate certain aspects of Christianity. I think it's good for society, like when it comes to like traditional marriage, things like that. But then they'll go on to say, and they'll critique all the what they consider like more negative aspects of Christianity, like forgiveness and love and all of those things, because they think that's like a hippie part of Christianity, which, you know, was God a hippie? Of course not. You know, Jesus wasn't some hippie. You know, he told people to go and sin no more, but he also you know, he is a loving God, and there is love, and love is important. And I don't know, it's difficult. It's difficult for sure. And again, I'm not necessarily just like knocking the culture war stuff though, because I do think a lot of it's important, and I do see stuff that is scary and that I don't want to be happening, and that I want people to push back and speak out, and I try to speak out, you know. I know a lot of you guys do too, but I just think that there's something higher than that. What do you have against hippies? I don't have anything against hippies per se. I'm just saying, like, God isn't some, like, all love, don't care about sin, you can do what you want, it doesn't matter. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know. I have nothing against hippies per se. It's not what I meant.
It's actually... It's so annoying, is what I'll say. It's just so annoying. And it's like the reason why, by the way, I don't really involve myself in like all of these dramas and stuff like that, right? Because it's such a distraction. It's such a waste of time. I could be doing like literally anything else. I could do anything else way, like, that's more fun, more productive than this, right? It's like, you know, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. They're gonna CC each other, and then there's nothing I can do about it because I can't really control them, but, you know, I'll just do my own thing. But I just realized that Leaflet's hair is kind of like 4th of July vibes. It's got some red, like a little white and blue. I'm just ranting, basically. I'm just bitching. I'm literally just complaining right now. There's really nothing to be done about it. I can't control them. I'm not gonna conform to them. So, you know, they can eat my ass, and okay. Yeah, they can eat my whole ass. But it's just really sad to see. It's really sad to see. Thursday. Wow. Okay then. Okay. Thank you so much for the bits. Thank you. Sad to say this isn't new. The woke learned that the Christian finding the Christians held cultural power in the 1900s. Mm-hmm. It was happening long before this and will happen long after. A modern term is purity spiraling. It happens when you don't purge fanatics and you allow them to establish a foothold. Mm-hmm. I will say, I don't know. It's just all these words. I hate these words now. And again, like, I know I'm going to say this, and like a lot of you guys are going to be like, strawb. But like, I don't know, like purity spiral, sewing circle Christian, tone policing, all these things have been hurled at me the last, like, I don't even know how long. And it's just like, makes me want to go crazy a little bit, because it's just so, I don't know. It's like Leaflet said, like, it annoys her, that annoys me. Like, I can't lie. I'm starting to get fatigue with all of that. For me. Mm-hmm. Drew Invictus, thank you for the 1,000. In psychology, we call this phenomenon rational aggression. It's all about status, basically scientific explanation of mean girl behavior. And that's really what it feels like, you know? Some great thank you for the sub. It really does feel like a big narcissistic social positioning game that people play. And it's like, I hate that. Like, I really hate, just as a person, like, I hate it. Like, I hate being around that. And this is why, by the way, I'm such an antisocial, by the way. I feel like wondering, like, why I don't really like to interact with people. I interact with a couple people, right? There's a small subset of people that I hang out with, right? Like, you know, like Rana, for instance.
Yeah, you guys don't see me hanging out with people, but it's more because I'm just scared. I'm afraid. It's hard to let your walls down and make friends. And when you do, they all, well, to be fair, all my friends were, like, super liberal, and then I became a Christian, and they were like, bye! And then now I just, like, refuse to, like, make friends, basically.
Since Waha Ashtray, right? And among other friends, like, you know, I hang out with Celestium, too, and Juju, and Powder, and sometimes Ember, you know, a bunch of people, right? But the reason I don't go out of my way to, like, meet new people and to integrate into, like, whatever certain, like, subgroups or whatever, like...
Oh, yeah, I am friends with Rima, actually. Rima's, like, the only person I really, like, talk to. Like, I text Rima. Like, we just, like, text. I don't even like anything else. Just Rima and Rev. R&R. Those are my friends.
Little, cliques or whatever you want to call it, right? Groups of friends. I don't really like to interact with other content creators in that way.
I do interact on, like,
I don't
Twitter
like to join,
and stuff,
like, their group or whatever, right? I'm kind of on my own, like, kind of in the woods, just how I like it, you know?
In the woods.
And I got my ragtag group of, like, you know, my ragtag group of friends like Rana, right? I feel really comfortable around Rana, for instance, right? But it's the reason why you don't see me, like, kind of going out of my way to do, like, big collabs with people and stuff. Is because I just don't, but yeah, we have our own little
yeah, I learned the hard way a long time ago. Like, I used to try and, like, collab with lots of people and stuff. It's just so sad, but, like, so many people, they just don't actually care about you at all, and they end up just being mean, and they'll just, like, they'll do anything to ruin your life. Like, especially, like, specifically, like, other VTubers or, like, content creators, you know? Like, they'll do everything that they can to prop themselves up so that they can get more attention and more views, and they'll do everything they can to, like, and obviously not everybody, right? But there's just a lot of them that, like, they're here to make as much money and get as many views as they can, and they don't actually care about you, and that's, like, sad, obviously.
But that's fine, you know. I don't really need it to be super huge or anything like that, right? But all I wanted to say is that, like, you know, if you find yourself in that position, understand, like, where your energy is being spent, right? Because you only have a certain amount of energy, right? You only have a certain amount of energy, focus, creativity, time, all of these things, right?
And I think that's an important thing to keep in mind. Like, did I need to go back and forth that many times? Probably not. I probably could have did it eventually. Like, do I think the whole thing was a waste? No. Could I have stopped myself sooner? Yeah. Was there some, like, pearls before swine moments? For sure. Yes, I would say so. I think I definitely probably interacted and replied to too many people too many times. But I don't think overall the conversation was bad. And I don't regret, like, speaking out about it because I think it's important. But I do agree with, like, obviously there's only so much energy that you can devote to something. So, no, this is just a reaction.
Right. And if you constantly spend that time poorly, you're not only fucking yourself up, you're also not doing anyone any favors. Like, anyone, quote unquote, on your side of the battle, you're not doing anyone any favors. In fact, you're being like the opposite, right? Like, if you spend all of your time, like, attacking, like, people adjacent that like, aren't that bad, like, maybe they have a couple things that they're not good at, right? Like, maybe, you know, whatever you want to call it, like, someone has done some things in the past or whatever, right? Like, whatever, say they did porn or something, right? But then they're turning a new leaf, right? Constantly bringing that up is...
I feel like that's different, though. You're talking, like, she's talking about something in the past, like, in this moment she is. Like, okay, someone did porn in the past, they turned a new leaf. I see no reason to bring that up at all. What does that matter? If they are not doing it and they repented and they, they say they're a Christian and okay, good. Isn't that what you want? Because, there's that whole conversation too about how, like, oh, women, they're whores and then they find God and it's like, what do you want them to do? Like, genuinely. And I understand the concept of, like, well, I just don't trust. Okay, well, you don't have to. You don't have to listen to them as teachers. I don't really think that they should necessarily just become a teacher automatically. Even myself, like, I had moments where I was like, I don't think actually I should be teaching. Like, I still need to learn a lot more before I even consider, and it's different, like, reading the Bible and kind of discussing things together is different than, like, being a literal teacher, and trying to, like, sell courses or something. I don't know, like, profiting off of it. And yeah, no one's forcing you to marry an ex-porn star. No one, I don't think that you should be, I don't think that you should feel like you have to have someone, you don't have to marry the OnlyFans girl that found Christ. Like, if you don't want to, you don't gotta do that. That's okay. But, like, genuinely, like, what do you want? What do you want the OnlyFans girls to do? I think what a lot of these people want them to do is they just want, I don't know, honestly. I mean, I guess maybe they want them to just, like, delete their accounts and disappear and, like, go become a nun or something. Like, but then they'd probably say that they're not good enough to be a nun. Actually, I think I saw something like that the other day. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know what they want for those girls to do. I'm not sure. Well, obviously, you have to paint a scarlet letter on them and then put them in the... No, because we're about to watch a video. Hold on. I want to watch a couple other videos, too. I've been yapping so much. That's fine. But, like, apparently, someone on Twitter was sharing that, because if you guys don't know, Andrew Wilson is married. I'm not super familiar with his wife. I know she is just as out there as he is. Like, they do all this stuff together. And I'm not here to, comment on... People bring up things. Apparently she's been divorced a couple times and she has some kids from a previous marriage or something. I'm not going to shame her for that. I'm not going to do that. I don't believe that's necessarily right. However, I saw some tweets where she had said, like, multiple times talking about women, like, oh, these whores, they, back in the good days, they would have been put in the... whatever those things are, like the headlocking things or whatever, with, like, your sorry, it's not funny, but it's just, like, it's so ridiculous to me. The stockade, yeah, there you go. The stocks, like, she's like, they would be put in the stocks and they'd be publicly ridiculed and they'd spend the rest of their life, in public service or whatever. I'm like, okay, all right. So, needless to say, I think that they both are similar, and it's not like she's, like, unaware of this. Like, she's fully on board with him. Ultimately, I just disagree with them on the way that they handle things. I don't think that it's loving. I don't think that it's Christ-like, and I honestly don't think that it's doing, I don't think that it's doing much to get people into the kingdom of heaven. I'm going to be honest. I'm not saying it's doing nothing. I'm not saying he's made no positive impacts. I'm not saying he has no good takes. I'm just saying I feel like he could have a lot better of an impact if he handled things differently. But then again, you could make the argument that if he didn't act the way he does, he might not have the platform that he has. And so then maybe he wouldn't be able to reach as many people. So maybe the answer is, now that he's established this huge fan base, he needs to have a come to Jesus moment and really just, like, realize that this stuff is bad yelling at women and calling them all whores and you know, this and that, and screaming at them and making these weird, gross jokes. It's not great. And, you know, if he could just realize that and, like, turn a leaf, you know. Haha, get it? Leaflet, turn a leaf. Anyways, if he could just figure that out, then he has this big audience and he could really make a difference. But, you know, I don't know if that will happen. That's just me. Maybe being a little hopeful. So, someone said we don't want OnlyFans women in any spotlight ever in our community. It makes our religion look like a joke if we let them into our circle. See, I just don't know exactly what you mean by into, like, any spotlight ever. Like, they should never be able to talk about their testimony? Is that what you mean? Because I disagree with that. And, like, just this concept of, like, you know, if you like, allow a woman who was promiscuous or an OnlyFans woman or whatever, and she says she's found God, and she genuinely, to the best of your knowledge, is trying, but you don't want to let her in because you look like a joke. I feel like that's a bad reason to, like, not let her into your circle. And also, I just don't think that that's how God designed forgiveness to work. Yeah, like St. Paul was persecuting Christians. He was given a spotlight. Yeah, come on, Strawb. Obviously, only OnlyFans girls are beyond forgiveness. Yeah, did you guys know the only unforgivable sin is being an OnlyFans girl? Don't you remember Saint Mary Magdalene and how the Lord handled her? Chat. And don't get me wrong. Jesus didn't say, yeah, keep doing that. That's good. I love that you're a prostitute. No. He said, go and sin no more. But he didn't say, oh, you disgusting, you know, blah, blah, blah. You're so nasty. You're a stupid whore. Like, blah, 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 blah. I don't think Jesus spoke to them that way, actually. I don't think that he did. Actually. In fact, the people that he spoke the harshest to in the Bible were the religious elites that thought that they were better than everyone else. That's typically, from my knowledge, who he spoke the harshest to. Pharisees and things like that. So. Jesus also didn't say, sin better, you're going to hell anyways, party it up. Well, yeah, exactly. But anyways, I think that's enough of this, this conversation. We kind of have gotten, we get the point, right? We get the point. But yeah, I hope that cleared up anyone's misconceptions about me being a woke Christian. Also, no, someone keeps asking me if I know some Brittany person. I'm not familiar with them, sorry. But, yeah, I hope that cleared some things up. You know, I am who I am. I have my beliefs. I'm not going to feel bad about them. And, I'm not going to soften, my morals or, like, change my morals just because someone is quote-unquote on my side of the aisle, or maybe more on my side of the aisle. Apparently I'm, like, right in the middle of the aisle or something. But, like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. Sorry if I see you saying something crazy out of pocket and you say that you're a Christian on the internet. I'm gonna expect you to be a Christian on the internet because you are using Christ's name. When you call yourself a Christian, you are quite literally, like, you're putting that title on yourself, right? Like, you call yourself a Christian, you're putting on that title, you're putting on Christ's name, and so I think we should try to do a good job of that. And again, no one's gonna be perfect, but I just think that we should be open to criticisms from other Christians as well, especially if it's said in love and just, like, valid criticisms, right? Didn't you marry Chuds as Desu? Yes, obviously. Love that man. Hideki with the 5! Bro, I gotta move myself again. Hold on. No! Oh yeah, there I am. I agree with you, Strawb. The Bible does say to be as wise as a serpent and harmless as doves. I think Andrew doesn't do a good job of that sometimes. Yeah, and that's all I'm saying. You know, I'm not saying he never has any good takes. I'm not saying that he's the worst guy ever. I'm not saying he's not a Christian. I'm just saying I don't think he does a great job of that. And I think that he could... I think he's honestly doing himself a disservice. And I think he's doing a lot of people a disservice by acting the way he does when he does act this way. I think he does a lot of it for attention and for probably some like rage baiting, and he thinks some of it's just funny, I guess. But I don't know. I think that it's, you know, well, I've said my piece. You guys know how I feel. But Rev is just our guy. I love our guy. Okay. We're gonna watch this video from the Council of Trent. He posted this yesterday. When did relationships become scary? And it's kind of talking about the movie Obsession, which I really enjoyed that movie. If you guys didn't see it, it was creepy, but it was good. But it's kind of talking about more of like the psychology, I guess, behind the movie and like people's fears in relationships. And I think it's kind of an interesting concept. So let's take a watch.
Recently, the horror film Obsession has blown up the box office, and many critics say it's because it taps into Gen Z's anxiety about dating and relationships. You can also see evidence of this anxiety in films, TV shows, social media posts,
iconic.
and academic studies. So in today's episode, we're going to answer the question, when did relationships become scary? And how can we, MAGA, make amore great again? Now you might be asking, what does this have to do with the Council of Trent's mission of sharing the Catholic faith?
What does
Which you can help us do by supporting us at TrenthornPodcast.com. Now the answer is that marriage, the lifelong sexually exclusive bond between a man and a woman, was created by God for the entire human race. Marriage is not a Catholic thing or even a Christian thing. God gave the entire human race marriage when he created Adam and Eve. And this is why basically every culture on earth has some form of marriage.
And it's so beautiful. Look at this marriage.
And it's good when people enter into a true marriage. The Catholic Church recognizes marriages where only one or even neither person is baptized as being good and natural marriages that are presumed to be indissoluble. This is why Eastern Orthodox commenter Andrew Wilson is wrong.
That's crazy. He does have beef with Andrew. But if you guys didn't know that though, I had no idea that Andrew believed this, but apparently he does. Listen to this.
Be indissoluble. This is why Eastern Orthodox commenter Andrew Wilson is wrong when he says it's sinful for non-Christians to get married.
Do you believe that it is sinful for a man to get married and have kids if he is not a Christian?
That's not marriage. Marriage is a sacrament between a man and a woman. That's within the purview of the Christian ethic. You have been running around with the rest of the tradcons telling men to sin, Lauren.
But the Catholic Church's code of
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah, he's Eastern Orthodox. And I don't know if that's a common Eastern Orthodox take or if that's just his opinion, but he thinks it's sinful for a man and a woman to be married if they're not Christian. And I guess specifically he means Eastern Orthodox because apparently he is also under the impression that if you are not Eastern Orthodox, you are not truly a Christian. So, I've never heard an Eastern Orthodox person say that. I don't know a lot of them. I know Celestium is Orthodox, so maybe that's something I could ask her about. She's the only Orthodox person that I really know. So yeah, I'm not saying that that's like their teaching. I don't really know that, but that is something that he claims. He believes that's true. Which, in my opinion, is just completely wild to say that a man and a woman, just because you're not a Christian, that you're sinning because you're married. Not a true Eastern Orthodox take, but common online as they just seek to take the opposite of any Catholic position that isn't hyper-exclusive. I know there does seem to be a lot of beef between Orthodox and Catholics, which, like, I guess makes sense. It's so sad to me. I wish we could all... I understand there's going to be differences and disagreements, of course, but it gets so aggressive, man. It's sad, and I do hate when people misrepresent religion, whether it's their own or someone else's. It's very frustrating.
Of canon law says the essential properties of marriage are unity and indissolubility, which in Christian marriage obtain a special firmness by reason of the sacrament. Notice that there's a difference between marriage and Christian marriage, which you see in the Catechism where it says the marriage covenant between baptized persons has been raised by Christ the Lord to the dignity of a sacrament, not that marriage itself is only a sacrament. Even in the Orthodox Church, when an unbaptized married couple converts, they don't have to get remarried. The Church simply recognizes their marriage and blesses or crowns it, whereas the Orthodox Church would marry a couple who wanted to convert and repent of cohabitation. Marriage is a good thing, even for non-religious people, and society is better off when more people choose to be married. But in the past decade, there's been a vibe shift against marriage and relationships, and one way you can see this is in media. Let's go back to scary movies, which often reflect broader social anxieties. For example, monster films of the 1950s reflected social fears about nuclear weapons or communist infiltrators among us, like in Invasion of the Body Snatchers. The 1970s and 80s saw a huge increase in crime and represented the height of the serial killer boom in the United States. So it's no surprise that slasher films like Halloween, Friday the 13th, and A Nightmare on Elm Street were popular during this period. As crime dropped off in the 90s and America entered a period of economic prosperity, there was another source of social anxiety. 3 films in 1999 all reflected a theme of discontent with boring suburban and corporate life: Office Space, Fight Club, and American Beauty. Films where people's greatest anxiety was the monotony of a well-paying job or living in a big, nice house. That hits a bit differently in today's economy, but the source of anxiety in several recent films isn't the radioactive monster, the anonymous slasher, or the bland corporate job in suburban life. It's the intimate partner who we should be able to trust, which brings us back to obsession. In the film, Bear is in love with his friend Nikki, but he's too timid to tell her, so he uses an occult object to wish for Nikki to love him more than anyone else in the world, and the results exemplify the adage, be careful what you wish for. I won't spoil the film for you, but let's just say Bear is not someone to root for. And it's not just obsession that has cast relationships in a dim light. In 2019's Midsummer, the romantic pair are hardly inspiring, and one of them sacrifices the other to a grisly end. 2020 gave us The Invisible Man, a story about an obsessive ex who uses invisibility technology to terrify his former girlfriend. And in 2025's The Housemaid, the lead male character and several off-screen male characters that are central to the female characters' backstories are abusers. Now, granted, there have always been films that depicted toxic male and female relationships, but they were usually balanced out by the much larger number of films that celebrated relationships. In the 90s and early 2000s, studios would release multiple romantic comedies every year. Films like When Harry Met Sally, Pretty Woman, Sleepless in Seattle, You've Got Mail, Love Actually, 10 Things I Hate About You, 13 Going on 30, and The Holiday. In the 2000s, romantic films made up about 1/3 of films released each year, but today romantic films make up less than 10% of the box office. And outside this genre, the number of romantic interests in films in general has declined.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves in.
What makes this film so beautiful is that it's not centered around a man. It's not centered around love at all, if anything. But we'll see.
For example, early Marvel films prominently featured
It's not centered around love at all. See, that's one thing that I thought was that was a take that I thought was frustrating, just because it's like, why is it so wrong for a movie to have love in it? What's so wrong about that? I don't know. That makes me sad.
Well-developed romantic relationships, but as the series progressed, they featured weaker pairings or turned male-female relationships into platonic friendships with maybe a hint of romance being mentioned. When it comes to Walt Disney animated films of the 90s and 2000s, romantic character relationships were common, as can be seen in The Lion King, Tarzan, Hercules, and The Princess and the Frog.
Aww.
They were even the central
These are all such good movies, especially Tarzan. I love Tarzan.
element of the plot, as in The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin. But in the past 10 years, you either get no romantic interests, like in Big Hero 6, Encanto, Moana 1 and 2, Raya and the Last Dragon, Ralph Breaks the Internet, and Wish, or when you do get them, it's between two boys, like in Strange World. You also see this pattern.
And also, don't get me wrong, I don't think every movie ever has to be centered around love, but like, you can definitely see a shift for sure.
In television shows, where it used to be easy to name iconic couples, but now it's hard to think of any such couples. Or what about a television show rooted in the family with the love of a husband and wife, a mother and father being center stage? These shows were a dime a dozen throughout the 20th century and even into the early 2000s, but now they're practically extinct. And in contrast to teen dramas of the early 2000s that explored romance and ranged from wholesome to mildly spicy, today we have shows like Euphoria that feature teen characters, but whose explicit content is clearly for debaucherous adults and presents a cynical view of relationships. But this observation also leads to a chicken and egg question.
Although I will say the end of Euphoria was kind of crazy. I felt, some of you guys might think it's bad, and it maybe it was bad, but I don't know. I watched some of Euphoria. I watched the other seasons like years ago, and then I was watching this season, and then I stopped for a little while because I was like, this is so gross. But then I picked it back up again, and I don't know. Don't get me wrong, it's definitely a sinful show, but it was very weird how, it was very interesting. They had this whole like Christian spin at the end, and I will say, and this is one thing I will say about it, they did not make all of the people in Euphoria, the way the show ended, and kind of a little bit of spoilers, so if you don't want to hear spoilers, plug your ears. However, they did not glorify their lives in that final season specifically, especially at the end. They were all very sinful. Just like they did some disgust, and when I say sinful, I mean it was some disgusting stuff. Like it was some just nasty, like they did some bad things. But they all had bad endings pretty much. Like nobody pretty much got away with it. And it definitely didn't glorify those bad things they did. It kind of showed just how terrible it was. And ultimately it was like, you know, the only people at the end of it that were truly happy were the Christian people that were like living out on this farm in the middle of nowhere. And it just showed like how peaceful their life was and how happy their life was and how everything else was terrible. I don't know, it was pretty crazy. A lot of people were very upset. Like a lot of people who were obviously not Christians, because I don't think a ton of Christians probably watched it. And again, maybe I shouldn't have watched it, but I did. But a lot of people, the main Euphoria fan base, were very upset with how it ended, because they felt like it was Christian propaganda, which is just kind of interesting to think about, because I don't know that most Christians would think that, but I don't know. I'd be curious to hear what the person who created that show and like the script and everything, what they think and why they took that direction.
Does popular media devalue relationships and make people less open to them? Or is popular media just reflecting changing cultural attitudes? According to a 2023 UCLA study, more than half of the 1,500 respondents said they wanted to see more content focused on friendships. Nearly 40% said they particularly want to see more non-romantic relationships or asexual characters on screen. The majority of respondents said that they felt romance in media is overused. And other studies in the past 2 decades have shown that young people's interest in dating and sexual activity has dramatically decreased. In the early 2000s, about 19% of college-aged men were sexually inactive, while in the late 2010s, that jumped to 31%. And while a decrease in fornication is a good thing, it has not been balanced out by an increase in the desire to marry. According to the Institute for Family Studies, while 85% of women and 75% of men were ever married in 1967, just 23% of 25-year-old women and 20% of 25-year-old men have ever married today. The Institute predicts that 1/3 of men and women who turn 45 in 2050, those who are about 18 or 19 today, will not have married. So what's causing relationships?
And that's just so sad. Like, that's lonely, you know? Marriage is a beautiful thing. I mean, even if you're not a Christian, marriage can be a beautiful thing, you know? Like, you have a partner, you're dedicating your lives to each other. You know, you want to raise a family, like have commitment, have a strong relationship. You don't have to worry about the stresses of dating and of, you know, like going out with people and getting your heart broken. And, like, you know, marriage is a great thing. Like, not only is it good for society, like, it's good for people, you know? And it's a very sad trend.
Relationships to become an old-fashioned tradition more people are saying isn't for them. Now, you might want to blame feminism or liberalism, and those things play a part, but we've had those things for nearly a century, so they don't explain the more recent dramatic change in the past 15 years. But if I had to put my finger on the culprit, I would say it's social media, something that has dramatically changed our lives in the past 2 decades, but for 4 interrelated reasons. Number 1, social media creates dating inefficiency. In the early 2000s, there were people called pickup artists who taught men how to approach strangers in public and ask them out. I always thought this was a bad idea because even if it worked, the odds weren't great that the person would be a good match for you. This kind of pickup technique was called a cold approach, in contrast to a warm approach, where you express romantic interest to someone who is not a stranger, usually a friend, coworker, or acquaintance. The problem with social media is that choosing to talk to people based on profiles is still a cold approach. Maybe a cool approach because you know a few of their interests, but you still don't know the person. Even if you chat with him or her online, it's still a very artificial conversation. As a result, it takes a lot longer to see if the person is a good match. Even though you can scroll through hundreds of prospects, the amount of failed connections and ghosted conversations makes the whole process less efficient than old-fashioned warm approaches. For example, if you were at a co-ed event like a party or volunteer activity, you would be around friends, acquaintances, and strangers. In this setup, you could quickly tell if someone is interesting or just not your type. And you could tell whether you have a connection with the person without the awkwardness of a dating context hanging over both of you. You'd also have other friends who could recommend or raise concerns about the person before you move forward with anything. Then, if you ask the person to get coffee or go on a small date, you'd already have a shared foundation and decent odds you could get along because you had a small in-person encounter that passed a vibes check. In fact, recent studies show that couples who met online were more likely to get divorced than couples who met offline because of the lack of this extra vetting process. In 2013, online dating
But nowadays, it's like, it feels so hard to meet someone not online. Like, it's so the norm to, like, try and, like, use an app or something. And I'm not even saying that's the best thing. Like, obviously, it would be ideal to, like, meet someone, like, I don't know, at church or something like that. But then again, like, people also apparently don't want to be approached at church. Like, there's all these other things. Like, there's just so much, you know? Like, it's so stressful. And it's hard to even make friends offline, let alone find your future spouse, you know? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't think it's just me. Everyone is so, like, things are just different, you know, than they used to be. Like, even me and Rev were talking about the other day, like, he was talking about, you know, when he was a kid, he saw the shift go from, like, you would knock on all your neighbors' doors, and you'd go play with the kids, and all the kids in the neighborhood would get together, and you'd go play, I don't know, like, basketball or something. You'd go to someone's house, and then the moment that, like, MySpace became a thing, and Facebook became a thing, and everyone had computers, and everyone had all these things, it's like all of a sudden everyone wasn't hanging out in person. You would go online and hang out. Or if you'd play video games, well, you didn't have to go to someone's house and play video games. You could play video games from your house and just connect online. And, I mean, it's changed the way people just interact with each other, obviously. And, now people don't just, like, meet the way they used to. Because people aren't doing the same things they used to.
Became the most popular way.
And you could say, like, oh, go to a bar. Personally, as a Christian, I don't know that I would recommend, and I'm not saying this to be any type of way, but, like, I don't know that I would recommend someone to go to a bar to find their, like, future spouse. You know what I mean? Like, they might not find the type of person they wish to marry at the bar, you know? And these types of, like, social spaces. So it's difficult.
Couples met, and now over half of all couples meet online. But if this process ends with rejection or mismatches over and over again, it can seem like a waste of time and people will retreat from it. So you might be thinking the answer then is to help people meet in person instead of just randomly online. But then we have to face problem number 2. Social media isolates people. In this popular Reddit post, a user asks, I love 90s and 2000s movies so much, and all of the teen movies have one of these party scenes. They look so fun. I'm Gen Z and have never been to anything like this. Aww. So was this a thing that just doesn't happen anymore? Or is it just Hollywood trying to make me hate my life more? As someone who grew up during this time...
It's probably a little bit of both, to be honest. I mean, like, I grew up, not in the 90s really, but, like, I grew up in the 2000s. 2010s, you know, for things like that. I didn't go to any big parties. I mean, then again, I wasn't, like, super popular, I guess, but, like, I don't really know how many of those massive parties were even thrown. Maybe they were, and I just didn't hear about it. But, but also definitely they did exist, and I'm sure it's different now. But yeah, it's probably a little bit of both.
Period. I can say that there weren't over-the-top parties with dozens or hundreds of people. And if there were, they were incredibly extraordinary. But it also wasn't uncommon for a handful or even a dozen people to spontaneously get together and play video games, chat, listen to music, and maybe get into a few shenanigans, because you couldn't do any of that by yourself. I graduated high school in 2003, and before that time, there was no Facebook, no X, no Instagram, no YouTube, and no MySpace, no online Halo fights or World of Warcraft or any other massive online games.
World of Warcraft.
Nearly everything was local. If you liked someone, you could try chatting with them on AOL Instant Messenger, or you could get off the couch and go to where people were hanging out. If you didn't go out, then you didn't interact with people. So there was a big motivation to go outside and touch grass. But with social media, we've traded friends for followers. We get a fake sense of interacting with people on social media, even though we are currently in a friendship recession. Since 1990,
I've never heard it like that, a friendship recession. That's so sad. Yeah, it's like I get a lot of my social interaction, I'm not gonna lie, I get it from online. Like, I mean, like, yeah, I'll go to church, you know, and make some friends at church is great. I really haven't been as involved, I feel like, at the Catholic parish as I have been at some of my previous churches, and I don't know if it's just because I'm more timid to go to events. I went to one specific event there with other women, and it was fun. It was nice. I really didn't meet anyone though. I mean, I kind of did, but like, not really. But I feel like the other churches that I was going to were so much more like, it was like Sunday school groups, and I feel like it was just different vibe, I guess, because I would go to Sunday school and I would sit and I would make friends in my Sunday school class, and that's just not a thing here at my parish. So, but I know they do have some groups that meet other days of the week, I think, but I haven't went to them because I'm just nervous, I guess. I don't know. But I do get a lot of my social interaction from my friends online, I will say. And even like the friends that I have in real life, but like we don't get to see each other all the time because, you know, a lot of my friends moved after college. They moved away from where we were, and I was just stuck here. So I was like, we're not stuck, I just stayed, but yeah, they moved like kind of far away, and I was like, man, but we'll still catch up like online, but it's still, I mean, those friendships like basically became online friendships, you know what I mean? Like texting, catching up maybe a couple times a month, if that.
Number of people who say they have no friends has increased 400%.
That's so
since
sad.
2003, people ages 15 to 29 have spent 45% more time alone than they did in 2010.
But I'll tell you right now, if I didn't have Rev, I would be so lonely. Like, I'm not kidding. I'm so, and don't get me wrong, like, yes, I can go live on stream. And I have all of you guys, and that's awesome. It's just not the same, you know what I mean? It's not the same as having someone in real life that you're hanging out with. And same thing as, like, on Twitter. Like, yeah, I have people that I interact with, but it's not the same. Like, if I did not have him, like, majority of the days of the week, most days of the week, he's one of the only people that I interact with for a majority of the day. That's it. Really. Like, there are many, 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 many days where he's the only person I see all day long in real life. If I did not have my husband, I would be so, so lonely. You know what I mean? Like, you'd get a real, yeah, I mean, if I didn't have him, I'm sure I'd have a normal job probably, and my life would be completely different, honestly, if I didn't have him. I'm so great I have him.
Which is
so
twice
grateful
as
that I
high
have
as the
him.
alone time people spent in 2020 during the lockdowns. Statistics show that when I was in high school, we spent on average 2.5 hours a day with friends. But today that number has dropped to less than 40 minutes. Meanwhile, average screen time for young people has increased from 6 hours in the early 2010s to over 9 hours a day. And in the early 2000s, teens spent 1 hour a day on computer screens, with the rest of their screen time being video games or television.
I'm afraid to know what the screen time is for everyone nowadays. Like, you guys, like, on your phone, like, does your phone tell you your screen time? I'm curious how many hours of screen time you guys get. Mine's not the best. Rev started out as an internet friend, right? Yeah, I met Rev on Twitter. Which, I mean, also, like, yes, we're together in person now. I met him on the internet. We met on Twitter back in 2020. Peak COVID time. We met, and we had similar friend groups and stuff online, and we were just friends for a long time. Yeah. And then he came and met me, and then we moved in together, and now we're in love and married. So it's not a voice changer. No, I can't answer that. 17 hours? Are you even awake that many hours in a day? 6 hours, 7 to 9, 10 hours, 9 hours. I think my phone, last time I checked it, it said like 6 hours or something. 6 hours of screen time on my phone. That's terrible. That's terrible of me.
Which you could share with other people. Even after I graduated high school and college, when social media started to become popular, it was a tool to assist our real-life interactions, not replace them.
I remember that.
But does that mean if we could just get people together in the same place off social media more often, we could make romantic relationships easier? Well, no, because there is a third problem with social media. Specifically, number 3, social media creates new social hazards. One common bit of advice for young men pursuing women has always been the worst she can say is no. But today that's not true. Now the worst a woman can say is smile for my TikTok as I embarrass you in front of thousands or even millions of people.
That's so true. Yeah. It goes both ways, I will say. I've seen guys and girls screenshot like dating apps and things and make fun of people, which I think you should not be able to screenshot things like that. Unless it was like something, I don't know, breaking the law and like reporting it to the police or something. But yeah, that's terrifying to think about this.
Men are legitimately scared that their sincere approaches will become fodder for others who want to create content. I remember seeing a viral...
Yeah, that's terrifying. Didn't you two start off a little antagonistic towards each other? He always says that. It was more like, he tweeted something, believe it or not, he tweeted something I disagreed with or something, I think is what he had said. I don't remember this happening. He says that happened, but...
picture being shared of a guy at a party standing with his hands in his pockets, sadly looking at a group of girls he wanted to talk to. He was just existing.
That's
and yet
sad.
he was still captured by social media and made an object of ridicule.
And then everyone's going to make fun of it on
people
Twitter.
would rather live behind an anonymous avatar than put themselves in that position. In the 18th century, philosopher Jeremy Bentham proposed an idea for a prison guard system called the panopticon. It allowed one guard in a central tower to surveil an entire prison. Since the prisoners never knew if the guard was watching them, they were always motivated to be on their best behavior. But today, we live in a digital panopticon where we don't know if someone has pulled out their smartphone to record us, so we always have to be on our best behavior. But even when men approach women sincerely, they can end up being an object of public ridicule because they violated a boundary they didn't know about that was a leftover of the Me Too era.
Or it's like, if an attractive guy approaches you, it's fine. But then whenever someone who apparently you don't find attractive approaches you, all of a sudden they're creepy and they're doing something wrong. And it could be the exact same approach. And all of a sudden it's like, but one's creepy and one's fine. It's like that meme.
Now, that movement was praiseworthy in exposing sexual abusers like Harvey Weinstein, but it went too far in equating the
I promise I haven't seen this video yet. I haven't watched all this.
expression of romantic interest to an uninterested person as being the equivalent of sexual harassment, worthy of getting reported to HR, as popularized in this meme. And finally, we have the fourth way social media has ruined modern relationships. It distorts our perception of reality. During the pandemic, only 1 out of 112 cases of COVID resulted in hospitalization, less than 1%. But in a Gallup poll, quote, 41% of Democrats thought that at least 50% of unvaccinated people have been hospitalized due to COVID-19. For these people, endlessly watching news stories and reading posts about COVID distorted their perception of reality, making the virus seem much more dangerous than it actually was.
I didn't know
and
that.
the same thing happens to men and women who spend too much time online reading about dating and relationships. Through manipulated algorithms, men and women see the worst of the other sex because those bad behaviors and toxic attitudes.
He's talking about us, chat.
Generate anger, which generates clicks and reposts. They then grossly inflate the risks of ending up dating or marrying a terrible person by thinking every man or woman is like this toxic online example. Men, for example, see some women talk about dating in transactional terms or reject guys over silly things that allegedly gave them the ick, and even publicly shame their sincere advances. The men then think that all women are like this and become jaded about dating and see dating as a humiliation ritual and avoid it. And then women see these viral men, especially men who follow red pillars like Andrew Tate, call women holes or foids, feminine humanoids, to dehumanize them. They will see some men equate women's value with physical appearance and mock women for getting older. Those women then assume that if men will just trade them in for a younger model, then they might as well not bother getting married in the first place. Or they'll see the horrible things that trolls say online about assaulting women and reach the insane conclusion that they would be safer in the woods with a bear than with a man.
Man, I hated that argument. I literally lost a friend over this. Can you believe it? It was actually a VTuber. Because I had said that the man versus the bear thing was stupid and that I couldn't understand why anyone would ever pick the bear. And she, like, hysterically was sending me voice notes crying. It was honestly kind of sad. Like, it just shows you how messed up a lot of this stuff makes people about how, like, women fear for their lives or something. It was crazy. Like, she was talking about all these things, and I was like, girl. I was like, the average man versus the average bear, and you would pick the bear. And A mess. Yeah, I lost a friendship over that.
Result is that some women will watch a horror film like Obsession and think this shows that all men are like the main character, who only cares about possessing women, not truly loving them. And some men will watch the same movie and think that this shows women are obsessive monsters. Or those men will consume horror stories peddled by people like Pearl, who say women just want to marry men so they can divorce them and take their money. And
Pearl is just... I mean, does anyone even like Pearl? Like, not trying to be mean, but like, who actually watches Pearl and like enjoys her content? Because all she does is talk about how women are so stupid, and yet she's the one speaking and she's a woman. So it's like, anyone who agrees with her, they must also think she is stupid. It makes no sense. I don't know if anyone on the right or left likes her.
Kids, even though, as I showed in our debate, the majority of marriages last a lifetime, and even the majority of divorced men get married again, because that's usually preferable to being unmarried. This conflict between men and women has given rise to something called heteropessimism, a term coined by Asa Saracen in 2019 to describe behavior that is, quote, expressed in the form of regret, embarrassment, or hopelessness about straight experience. And it shouldn't surprise you that some of the biggest advocates for heteropessimism are LGBT advocates.
If you don't know who Pearl is, consider yourself lucky.
Or even LGBT supremacy, saying that their relationships are better than male-female ones. One author at genderspecialist.com writes, the results of a 2020 study found that same-gender couples have better, healthier interactions with their partners.
Now we know
in
that ain't
heterosexual
true.
Relationships.
Sure, Jan.
Sure, Jan.
Except it turns out that same-sex couples experience higher rates of domestic violence.
We knew this.
But you won't see that reality in Hollywood projects that push the LGBT agenda, even when the projects are destined to fail, like 2022's gay romantic comedy Bros, which I reviewed in a previous episode linked below, and Lightyear, where, I kid you not, the plot is about, as one ex-post puts it, Buzz Lightyear ending himself to guarantee his black lady boss could have a biracial kid with her lesbian wife. But in most cases, people with opposite-sex attractions become their own worst enemies. You can see this in how social media distorts their perception of what is valuable in relationships. And so these men and women will pass over potential partners that don't meet some delusional standard. That happens when women think that men aren't good enough to date unless they're over 6 feet tall, make over 6 figures, and have a six-pack. And it happens when men, especially those who consume large amounts of pornography, think a woman is fat unless she's rail thin, like Anne Hathaway or Margot Robbie are mid or average looking, and women are...
Yeah, that's just wild. Absolutely wild. Margot Robbie is mid.
angry feminists if they don't cheerfully agree with everything their man says. But having a stunted view of women doesn't prepare a man to value a woman who doesn't dramatically stand out from other women, or she's average, but is still beautiful in her own right. However, he should still love her primarily because of her immaterial qualities, including her personality and interests that for him do dramatically stand out from other women. And the same is true for women who pass over average men because those women get superficial attention from very attractive men. Finally,
and like, don't get me wrong, I think it's important to be attracted to your spouse, you know? But at the same time, like, I think when we have these, like, crazy high expectations and we want, like, as a woman, like, if a woman wants, like, he has to be at least 6'2" and he has to have abs and he has to, you know, this, and this, and then the same thing for a guy, whatever. Like, when you get so obsessed with the vanity aspect that you overlook people who maybe they don't meet every single like criteria that you would like, but like you might genuinely love that person, and I promise you, when you love someone, you find them way more attractive when you love them. It's just the truth. Like, if you don't love someone, you're probably not going to find them as attractive, but I really fully believe that when you find someone and you love them, the more you fall in love with that person, the more attractive they become to you. It's just the truth. And you might be doing yourself a disservice by, you know, looking over someone who might be a little more average looking. You know, maybe they're not the hottest person ever. Maybe they're more average, but that person could be the person that gives you a family, that takes care of you, that, you know, does right by you, that's loyal to you, and you might really love that person, but you'd never know if you never gave them a chance.
Social media creates the false perception that we're always going to be missing out on the next best thing because it presents us with so many options. After the development of sustainable farming, most people rarely traveled more than 30 miles from their home. There were at most a few dozen romantic prospects in their village or community. Even after urbanization and the move to larger cities, the number of romantic prospects might have risen into the dozens or hundreds, but it was still manageable to navigate. But while reviewing hundreds of romantic prospects would have taken months, years, or decades in the past, with your smartphone, that can be accomplished in a few minutes. And human beings weren't designed to process relationships in this way. Back in 2004, Barry Schwartz noted this in his book, The Paradox of Choice, Why More is Less, when he showed how the abundant choices we have in modern society actually create analysis paralysis, and it makes us less happy than if we had had fewer choices. And even when relationships are formed through social media and dating apps, people use the technology to keep a safe distance from the other person and never truly commit. Smartphones have encouraged us to only interact with the perfect reply in a text or the perfect post on social media. So many people think they can't date until they or the relationship they're in are just perfect. As a result, a lot of this has given rise to so-called situationships, and people feel like having their time being wasted. In fact, one reason romantic comedies aren't popular today is that the elements that made them so special, the meet-cute, the organic romances that develop over time, these things are an alien concept in a world where the first time you meet someone, you can then cyberstalk everything about him or her and see if the person meets an impossible checklist. And if they don't, you just ghost the person, which is a lot harder to do when you meet someone through friends and family, like most of us did just a few decades ago. So what do we do? Well, I pray that one day we're going to look back on smartphones and constant social media use like we look back on ubiquitous indoor smoking and ask ourselves, why did we think that was a good idea? But considering the social media industry makes way, way more money than the tobacco industry ever made, I doubt this will happen. At best, we can try to discipline ourselves and form communities to encourage fruitful relationships between people who are discerning marriage apart from the bad effects of social media. I spent a lot of time outlining the problem here in this episode, so I'm just going to offer 9 brief points for some practical solutions. And I'd like to thank the 4 anonymous Gen Z influencers I asked to review today's episode and the following tips. So here they are. Number 1, be intentional with social media. Don't casually use it because that lets your brain get reprogrammed. One good tip is to set an alarm and only use social media for a limited amount of time.
Dang, it's like I was supposed to watch this video.
And just dump dating apps like Tinder or Hinge altogether. Number 2, men, stop watching porn. This is another example of social media ruining relationships.
And women. I'm sure Trent also would think women, but women watch it a lot as well. I think there seems to be, I don't know if there is this like thought that it's more of a man problem. I can assure you, as a woman who knows many other women and has known many other women, it is, women do read it, but women also watch it. Trust me, women watch it, and nobody needs to watch it. It's terrible for many reasons. For your brain, it's terrible for lots of things, but it's not just men. Women also need to stop reading and watching it.
Because even adult content, which once only existed on sketchy, virus-ridden websites, is now easily accessible on sites that resemble social media like Facebook, but are not about looking at people's faces. Men, you need to stop watching this stuff because it makes you awkward around women. That's because when you watch...
That's not the only reason, but I mean, I guess that does happen. But, yeah, okay.
explicit materials, you train yourself to feast on a woman's body with your eyes. You'll then subconsciously do that to regular women in real life.
Yeah, women do it just as much, in my personal opinion. I would argue women do it just as much as men do.
And it creeps them out. They notice. But if you give up the XXX stuff, you'll be on a good path to learning how to talk comfortably to women, which is the first step to getting a girlfriend. Number 3, Women, stop watching, or more in your case,
Okay, there we
reading
go.
corn. I covered
There we go, Trent. I was like, it's not just men.
how women's literature
Although I will tell you, like, yes, a lot of women read it. A lot of women watch it. You know, a lot of the women read it. A lot of women watch it.
is raunchy trash in a previous episode that I'll link to below. Consuming this material rewires your brain to make it want unhealthy male attention. And stop making corn, which includes posting pictures of yourself in a thong bikini on Instagram. That just attracts the wrong kind of attention from men and leads them into grave sin. Number 4, do whatever you can to grow your friend and acquaintance network. Join clubs, go on mission trips, say hi to random people of the same sex, and chat with them. Then practice doing that with people of the opposite sex. Don't use activities only as a means to
Trent
date
out
people,
here with some good
but as
advice.
a way to become a fulfilled person who is still happy, even if you don't find a relationship in the activity.
I think that's a good point too. Like, do things because you want to do those things. Don't go to a club or an event or something just because you want to find a husband or a wife. Like, go because that would actually bring you joy to go there, and then you can hopefully make genuine friendships, and then hopefully something can eventually evolve in the future. But don't go somewhere with just the intention of seeking out a man or a woman.
And in becoming a mature, happy person, you'll naturally be attractive to other people.
It's true.
Number 5, married people and those in the older crowd like myself recognize that the younger generation was dealt a rough hand, and so we should help them find ways to create friendships and relationships. This is especially true after college when it's really hard to meet people.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about making programs dedicated to dating because then it just feels like a meat market. But places where young or not so young unmarried people can hang out with a diverse group and get to know one another in a place that's free from social media judgment. In many early American immigrant communities, the Catholic parish hall served this purpose. So maybe it's time to bring that back. But whatever it is, older generations need to step in and help provide this for young people. The burden shouldn't fall on them alone, and we need to help them. Jason.
I agree with that. Also, I'm going to BRB really quick. I have to go to the bathroom. 1 second. I have returned. Okay. Let's finish this up.
Nevert hosts a program for young people to go on camping trips together while learning about the works of John Paul II, called JP2 Trails. So that would be one example. Number 6, men make the first move, women send the first signal. Women, if you're interested in a guy asking you out, then you need to flirt without being a floozy. Laugh at his unfunny jokes, make eye contact, smile, touch his arm, flip your hair, all of that. Men, look for these signs, but even if they aren't obvious, don't be ashamed to just go for it and ask, do you want to go on a coffee date or go and chat or go on a walk? Women, if you're not interested, just politely decline. And for the love of goodness, don't talk about declining on social media. I'm serious. Don't make fun of guys who give it a shot, because that just makes them not want to try in the future.
Yeah.
And men, don't be overly worried about this, because it's pretty rare in real life for someone to publicly post a video about rejecting a.
And if they do, that says a lot more about that person than it says about you for trying to ask them out. It says a lot more about their character if they're going to make fun of you for literally doing something flattering and trying to ask them out or compliment them.
Guy. But I'll admit, it's not necessarily uncommon for a group to be unfriendly to a guy because he asked out someone in the group. It's a date, not a marriage proposal.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, men should know that approaching women can become creepy if you ask out every single woman in your friend group. So be selective and see how you get along with people in co-ed, non-date settings. And if a woman says no and isn't mean about it or blasting you on social media, then don't take it personally and learn to take a hint as well. If you ask her out and she's busy 2 times in a row and doesn't suggest an alternative time and place to meet up, cut her loose. All right, number 7, women, don't waste time on things that will keep guys from being able to pursue a relationship. This includes overworking, overscheduling, and overcommitting to guys. Don't allow yourself to be monopolized by a guy who dates you for years and years but won't commit. And men, if there ain't no ring, it's not a thing. So even if she has a boyfriend but he won't commit to her, well, maybe she needs a man friend like you. And women, as I mentioned earlier, don't pass over.
Okay, Trent, dang. He said, she ain't got a ring, it ain't a thing. I don't know exactly how I feel about that. I mean, I guess it's not entirely wrong. Like, I don't know. Like, I do think it's bad. Like, it's not ideal. How about this? It's not ideal to be in a relationship where you're just dating for years and years and years, and like you're waiting for the other person to pop the question, blah blah. However, like, are we at? I don't know about that. I assume he's just being a little silly here. And like, I don't know. Yeah, you definitely shouldn't drag your feet as a guy. That kind of caught me off guard. I feel like that was a little wild for Trent Horn. Like, he doesn't usually say things like that. But, it gets rid of the thought of maybe she has a girlfriend, so people don't shoot their shot. That's fair. I don't think Trent would want, like, a woman to, like, cheat on her boyfriend, though. I don't think that's what he meant. I don't know. That just... Sorry, it caught me off guard.
For men for delusional standards, or constantly hold out for very, very attractive men who might give you attention because they get a lot of attention from women.
Yeah.
Give decent guys a chance. And men, give decent girls a chance as well, because oftentimes you may be passing over average women as well. So both sides need to give each other a chance. Number 8, keep first dates casual. And women, you're nuts if you think it has to be a 3-course dinner with a guy.
I agree. I've seen women complain about, like, oh my gosh, I remember I saw this, like, video, like, this was probably a year ago or something, of this woman complaining that a guy was taking her to a chain restaurant for a first date. Girl, what do you need? You know what I mean? Like, what is so wrong about... I think I saw another one about like, going to a Cheesecake Factory. Cheesecake Factory is nice. What's wrong? Cheesecake Factory is fancy. Okay? Like, You know, you could have him taking you to, you should be grateful he takes you to Chili's. You know what I mean? Like, it does not need to be this like super fancy dinner, blah blah blah. Like, you can go to Applebee's, you know what I mean, and get like a, and that's true. I mean, even you go to Chili's, you go to Applebee's, it's not going to be cheap. You go anywhere and sit down, it's not going to be cheap. And and really truly, it isn't about the place you go, it is about who you're with. And ultimately, like, if that's gonna be like an issue from the very beginning, it's probably better that the person who has the issue does vocalize it, because do you really want to end up with a woman who expects you to take her out to like Michelin star restaurants every time you go out? I mean, really, you know what I mean? Like, if she has to have a fancy steak dinner every single time you go for a date, maybe that's not someone that you want to, you know, marry anyways, because that's exhausting, honestly, to be with someone who has super high maintenance, you know? Just my personal opinion. And I know some women like that in real life who, I mean, they expect to be wined and dined at least once a week, and like a nice place, and then on top of that they expect you to take them out for like lunches and brunches and other dinners like multiple times a week. I mean, it's like you don't want to get involved in that if that's not something that you want to deal with. And I think for most people that's probably not something they want to deal with, because of course it's always nice to go somewhere nice, you know, but like whenever it becomes an expectation, and when someone is not satisfied with something else, it's like toxic, and it gets expensive. Like, it's expensive to go to like fancy places all the time, and not everyone has that money. And also, you know, you're probably wanting to save money up like for a family, maybe to buy a house, maybe to get a new car. Like, there are things people need, and I mean, that's a whole other rabbit hole, but like we live in a time where it's like people are struggling, and it's just not understandable to expect super expensive dinners all the time, especially for a first date. Because let's be honest, if the guy is paying for you, I mean, it's an investment. It is an investment in trying to get to know you. Let's say he does take you to like an Applebee's, and he spends like, you know, 40 something with a tip and everything, you know, like that's an investment on you, just for you to be rude, you know. Just a thought.
That you've never met before. Coffee or ice cream or a walk works just fine.
Yeah.
Even if it's a first romantic.
Also, I will say, whenever I would go, and I haven't been on like a first date in a million years, but when I would, the few times I did, I really liked doing things like that, because it's also really easy if the vibes are weird or uncomfortable, or you're not really like jiving well, it's really easy to leave. You know what I mean? Like, if you go and get ice cream real quick, or you go and, you know, get some froyo and go for a walk or something, like, it's easier to get out of there if you're not having a good time, versus if you're sitting down at a fancy restaurant where the dinner takes at least 2 hours. It's like, that's a long time to sit with someone if you both can tell right from the beginning, yeah, this is not gonna work, you know? Not that you can't go to a nice place, but I mean, it's definitely not a necessity.
Romantic date. After several casual dates, it does not have to cost $200, which is the average amount that Gen Z spends on a first date. One of my favorite first dates with Laura.
That's the average they spend on a first date? What? A first date average is $200? For the first date? For the whole meal? That's crazy. I'm like shook. That's expensive. And that's average. That is average. That's, I was like, I don't think I can afford that. That's crazy, man. What the heck? That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. Also, I need to catch up on these, but Gold Recluse with the 5, thank you for the 5. Oh, it's not just Gen Z's anxiety. I'm anxious about it too, and I'm a millennial. I don't think you're alone in that when it comes to all of these things. Wait, what? Oh, Rob, thank you for the 5. With the lie. Oh, I think I know what you're doing. LOL. I think I see. The timer already ended though, but we will get it. Don't worry, I'll give it to you. And Hideki had given the 5. We're not talking about that anymore, obviously, but interesting. That is an interesting point. Thank you for the 5, Hideki. And Oram with another 5. Lizard. I got you guys. I did bring this. Lizard, 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 lizard. I took it back from Rev. This one's mine. Lizard, 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 lizard. Thank you for the lizard. Thank you.
Was the two of us going to a bookstore with a coffee shop attached. We then went and got 3 books we would buy if we had the money. We drank coffee, and we talked about why we would have bought those 3 books, which is a great way to get to know each other. And finally, number 9, keep God at the center of your discernment and your spiritual life.
Amen. I like Trent. He speaks the truth. Oh, Ron, thank you and again for another 5. Blizzard, 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 blizzard. I'm late to the stream today, but I'm glad to see you stream more. Thank you. I hear the song of my people. Amazing. Absolutely beautiful. Yes. Thank you.
End of the day, none of us is owed a relationship or really anything in this life. Life is a gift from God.
That is true.
And so are other gifts like relationships. I felt that in a deep way this past year since my wife was diagnosed with brain cancer. So I'm acutely aware that relationships only exist through God's timetable, not ours. One of my favorite Bible verses gives us a good attitude to endure these kinds of trials. It's Sirach 2:4-6, which says, "Accept whatever happens to you. In periods of humiliation, be patient. For in fire, gold is tested, and the chosen in the crucible of humiliation. Trust in God, and he will help you. Make your ways straight and hope in him." So whether you're enduring the trials of pursuing marriage, or maybe you're in a marriage that's become very difficult, or maybe you're grieving a broken marriage or a spouse who has passed away, whatever it may be, use whatever trials God has given you to grow closer to him. And no matter what, keep your focus on God and don't be afraid. That was Pope Leo's recent advice to young people in Spain who were discerning marriage.
El matrimonio también es una vocación. No tengáis miedo del matrimonio y de formar familia.
For more on this from a dating perspective, check out Jason Everett's book, How to Find Your Soulmate Without Losing Your Soul. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a very blessed day.
Thanks, Trent. I hope you have a blessed day too. I'll give you a like. Well, that was an interesting video. Where'd my music go? Here it is. That was interesting for sure. Base, do not be afraid. God tells us so many times, do not fear. Do not fear, chat. It's so easy to be black-pilled and to worry and to fear and to feel like it's all over. But, you know what? God says, do not fear. And so we need to listen to that, even when it's hard. Because obviously all these things are so much easier said than done, right? Like, it's so much easier said than done to, like, trust God and to lean on Him and to let things strengthen your relationship with Him. It's easy to say that. It's a lot harder to put it into action, but that doesn't mean that it's not beneficial and that we shouldn't try. Ooh. So, good advice, I think. Interesting. He didn't really talk about obsession as much as I thought he was going to. I guess he kind of used it just to kind of like lead into his points, which is good. I mean, honestly, it makes sense. I thought for some reason he was going to do like the whole video was going to be about the obsession movie, but that's fine. That's fine. I just got a little clickbaited, maybe. It was a lovely stream. Thank you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had a nice time with you all. I hope you had a nice time too. I'm super hungry. I never ate lunch, and it's almost 4 o'clock. So I should probably go have a little something, because we're probably not going to eat dinner until later. I don't know if Rev's going to stream or not. If he does stream, we probably wouldn't eat until like later on, so I definitely should go make some foods. But I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for listening to me talk about things. And you know, even if we don't agree on everything, even if we don't see eye to eye on everything 100%, I appreciate being able to have these conversations with you guys and everyone being respectful. I have a really great community of people that are just sweet people, and I really love you guys, and I hope you guys take good care of yourselves. Yeah, and I'll see you again very soon. I'm not sure when I'll stream next, but I'm sure it'll be eventually. I might maybe this weekend at some point, although it is 4th of July weekend, but I don't know exactly what I'm doing for it yet. But either way, I'm sure I'll see you again somewhat soon, and we can hang out and chat. And in the meantime, I'll be in the Discord, I'll be on Twitter, hopefully less. Maybe I went on my like long Twitter hiatus, and then I came back, and maybe I missed it a little too much. I gotta take some of Trent's advice and like set a timer or something. But yeah. Thanks, guys. Take care of yourselves. Thank you for all the donos, the chats, the sweet messages. You guys always make me feel better, especially when I feel kind of crazy sometimes. Because sometimes I feel, I don't know. Sometimes I just get in my own head a little bit. But you guys always seem to help me with that, so I appreciate it. Will you be at Bible study tomorrow? No, the new Bible study that's happening in the Discord is actually not being led by me. It's a men's only Bible study that's happening in the Discord currently. Actually, I don't know if they strictly made it men's only. I mean, as far as I know, it was only men involved, and I'm pretty sure the book they chose was like a book geared towards men. I don't know if it's like, I'm sure, I shouldn't say men's only. I'm sure they would be fine with women joining. It's not men's only? Okay. I don't know why. I thought that you guys picked a book that was like for men, and so I assumed it was going to be geared towards men. But of course, everyone's welcome. I should have clarified that a little better. All that to say, we had, you had 2 girlies last session. That's great. Well, ignore me. I wouldn't know. I haven't been there. So, I was just saying because I'm not involved in this Bible study. I have prior commitments at that time, so I'm unfortunately not able to be doing that right now. But, yeah. In the future, I did the other Bible study for a while. That was great. In the future, I'm sure that we'll do something else. But yeah. Okay, guys. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you soon.